Hey, this is Daniel Norton from Adorama. This is your exclusive first look at the new Fuji 100 to 400 millimeter zoom lens. This lens is going to be great for anybody that's got an X-series camera, that they're going on a safari, they're shooting sports, they're shooting wildlife, they're just out there and they need a long zoom, and this is actually the longest zoom that Fuji's got so far. Here's Justin from Fuji, he's going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, this is brand new for us. This is a 100 to 400. It's a 4.5, 5.6, so it's not the fastest lens in the stable, but to compensate for that, it's got an amazing 5-stop optical image stabilizer in it. So it gives you lots of flexibility. I've handheld this lens down to say about 1/15 of a second and gotten some pretty amazing results out of it doing things like that. It's weather sealed, so it's great for use out in all kinds of environments, especially with like an XT1 that it's on right here. So you pretty much have a weather sealed package, so a drizzly rainy day, never gonna stop you making photographs. 100 to 400, it's basically 150 millimeter to 600 millimeter equivalent. And we can bolt in our 1.4 times teleconverter in it there and really reach that lens out over 800 millimeters with that in there. So one-stop light loss, but we can get 800 millimeters of effect with it. It has a couple little neat things I love about it. Of course, tripod socket foot in the bottom with a rotating collar, so you have that flexibility to shoot verticals on a tripod or on a monopod. But they've added some little tricks to the lens hood. It actually has a little door that flips up in the bottom of it. So if you put a polarizer on your lens, you can actually get in there and move your polarizer around without having to reach in the hood. The other thing is, one of the problems with a lot of long lenses and lens hoods tend to fall off. They actually put a little push button lock on it, which locks it in the storage position and locks it in the on position.
Nice.
For ease of use, yes. Really nice little piece.
The one thing I really noticed when you handed it to me is how light this package is. So if you're traveling, especially with the X-series camera and this lens on it, it weighs next to nothing and you can carry around all day long without any stress.
Yeah. It's really a nice package, has a nice feel to it. It's really well balanced on, say, an XT1, particularly if you got the vertical grip on it for the extra batteries.
For under $2,000, this is an amazing bargain of a lens. So Justin, this is what I'm really excited about. As an X-Pro 1 user, this right here, from what I'm seeing in the specs, it seems like the next step for an X-Pro 1 user, finally.
Definitely. It's been a little bit long in the wait. The X series now is reaching its 5th anniversary. The X-Pro 1 is about 4 years in duration, so yeah, it was time to really refresh that camera, and we didn't want to just give it a little tweak, we wanted to revolutionize everything about the camera. So even though this camera might look just like your X-Pro 1, inside it's completely different. So starting off, we've got a 24 megapixel sensor in here now. So it's X-Trans 3. Then we've got the new X Processor Pro that is powering everything. So we've got a brand new processor in this camera, more guts, over 4 times more guts than the previous generation processor that was in the XT1, and way more than was in your X-Pro 1. So we've updated all these things internally that have done it. Next piece in the chain, the shutter. We've upped the shutter in this camera. The mechanical shutter in this camera now has a 1/8,000th of a second top shutter speed. It has a 1/250th of a second sync speed. These are things people have been asking for. They want to up those speeds and keep everything going there. Next piece on it is the shutter speed dial. You know, we've got that. We've added the ISO dial to the shutter speed dial. And this to me is a slick sort of throwback piece, really reminiscent of old classic film cameras. But to me, the beautiful thing about it is, yes, I can look down at my camera, I can see the ISO I've got set, but even better than that, one-handed operation. With my hand, the shutter speed dial, I can actually pick that ring up, change the ISO while looking through the viewfinder. Right. I don't need to look away. It's not a separate button and a dial I've got to spin and turn and try to find on a camera. It's right there. And that was one of the things they really wanted to do with this camera. If you look at the back of the camera and the button layout, everything is configured for basically right-handed operation. The buttons have all been moved to the right-hand side of the camera. The screen's been shoved to the left, and they've just really looked at how to do that even better. If I move to the finder, the hybrid, the multi-hybrid finder that has the EVF, OVF function.
That's something I love about this. I love being able to look through the camera sometimes and not using the EVF, even though it's great.
I'm a rangefinder guy. I love rangefinders. And so it's really hard to find anymore a rangefinder camera, especially an affordable rangefinder camera. And so to have a camera that gives you all that flexibility, gives you that real-time view, lets you see what's happening, lets you see your frame, outside your frame, what's going on, especially working as a street photographer, it's like the ideal thing. Well, now we've added in from the X100, we had that secondary little flip-up ND filter that would give us EVF inside OVF. We've added that feature now to the X-Pro lineup, but we've added another twist to it. We actually now can select the magnification on that little window. On the X100T, you were limited to, it was always for focusing. It was about 5x. This camera can have full frame, 5x, 10x.
Nice.
So you got flexibility there. You can actually see your exposure. You can see all that nice information from an EVF, you know, film simulations, exposure, what have you, in the optical finder, or you can use it for focusing. So either way there, it's a really great setup. We've added to that finder also now, it has the dual mag capability. So if you love the old finder that had the low mag, high mag setting, so it changed as you change lenses, kept that function on the camera, but we've also added the diopters now built in.
Oh.
So everyone before was always scrambling to find a thread-in diopter. They were great, they were used on a lot of old film cameras, but it's not modern. So updating to a built-in diopter, allowing us to change it, yeah, on the side of the camera. We've also added this new joystick button so that we can actually move focus points around. You don't have to dive into a menu, you don't have to do anything, hit a button and this. That button is your drive, yeah. The other little things that we've added is card slot. This camera now, for Fujifilm, has 2 SD cards in it. So we're giving you the high-speed card slot for your RAWs, and this camera, because you know we'll run at 8 frames a second, you can punch out a lot of RAWs. It also is the first Fujifilm camera that will do a compressed RAW format. Every other camera was uncompressed RAW up to this point. This camera actually has the ability to compress the RAWs. Other little tiny features in it. In the EV comp dial, we actually have a new position, a C position. We realized that we wanted more exposure latitude in our EV comp. And by having a mechanical dial, there was limitations to that. You can only put so many numbers on it, otherwise numbers get smaller. So they put a C position on it, which means command dial. So you can flip it to the command dial on the front of the camera, and then the command dial, actually, the little roller wheel on the front, actually controls your EV comp then.
Oh, great.
So it just gives more flexibility for someone that wants to have that capability in the camera. Kept the same battery in it, so we've kept everything the same for the users, same experience there.
Great. One thing I really like, and I noticed, it seems like one of those things that gets lost in all the new specs, is there's a new film simulation.
New film simulation, yes, acros. So we've added the acros portrait film. It's for portrait black and white, low grain, beautiful, smooth, tonal gradation film simulation, yes.
One of the things that I really love about Fuji is those film simulations. So to have new ones added just makes it more exciting for me too.
Yeah, they try to add more of those little features when we can.
So both the new camera and lens are available for pre-order now, and they'll be shipping in February. Well, this is going to be incredibly popular. I know I'm getting one. Thanks for coming, Justin.
No problem.
And we'll see you next time.